Good chance we could see some well-known animals out that way. Large tree on the right there, that is a baobab tree. A baobab tree can remain leafless for up to 9 months out of the year. Those leafless branches, they somewhat resemble roots, so it's been nicknamed the upside-down tree. It takes a long time for the baobab tree to reach maturity. It can live to be thousands of years old. Quite adept at storing water, makes it a nice precursor to what we could see down on the savannah, with a lot of plants and animals out here, adapting ways to survive the unique climate. As we do kind of start to work our way out there, begin to see the impact the wildlife here can have on the ecosystem. Short grass, for one, is a courtesy of grazing animals, such as zebras and wildebeest. You notice any knockdown trees down that way? It's an indicator that elephants could have passed this direction. They will cut their own path, blaze their own trail. Wherever they go, elephants knock down whatever is in their way. They'll also knock down trees to get at the leafy greens on top. They are moving a little bit, what we say around here, pole-pole right now. It's Swahili for very slow, and very likely due to some animals in the road a little bit further up ahead. Another impact you can see from animals here. Oh, is the giraffes. They're the ones that do the pruning, so to speak, on the trees, but it looks like there will be some zebras right here. These are Hartman's mountain zebra. They're one of 3 subspecies of zebras, so the way that we can tell they're Hartman's zebra is because of their white underbellies. Their stripes do not go all the way around. You can also tell from their black noses that they are black with white stripes. The baby zebra, when it is first born, will imprint on its mother. That way it's able to recognize her unique pattern. Truthfully, we don't fully know why they have those stripes, but the prevailing and widely accepted theory is that if you have a bunch of zebras huddled up together, it makes it difficult for a predator to pick out any one specific zebra. A little flap of skin under their neck, that's called a dewlap. A lot of veins in there, allows for the greater circulation of blood. Helps them to regulate their body temperatures. Similar to humans, zebras will actually communicate with one another through body language and facial expressions. A group of zebras is called a dazzle. You can probably imagine their brisk runners can run about 40 miles per hour. I mentioned they're one of 3 subspecies of zebra. The 2 others, there's the Grevy's zebra, which you can actually see on the Gorilla Falls Trail back in the village. They're very similar to the Hartmans, except they're the other way around. They're white with black stripes. And then there's the Grant zebra, which you can actually find at Animal Kingdom Lodge. They're the smallest of the zebras. Their stripes do go all the way around. Looks like we are going to be getting back on the move here. There's plenty more animals for us to see a little bit further on up ahead. You see a den poking through the bushes here on the left. So that likely means predatory animals. Let's see if that results in us actually finding any here. And there will be some to the right of the den there. You look to the right of that den. That is an African painted dog. Painted dogs, they get that name from the pattern on their fur. Looks like somebody smattered them with paint. They're pack hunters, very efficient, fiercely loyal to one another. Pack will be led by a dominant breeding pair, a male and a female. They are an offshoot of domestic dogs. Key difference though, domestic dogs have 5 toes. Those painted dogs will only have 4. There'll be some wildebeest out there on the right. Wildebeest, they will live in groups as small as 10, or herds as large as 1,000. All those groups and herds will come together for an event known as the Great Migration, where they follow the rainy season, quite literally in search of greener pastures. I believe the largest Great Migration featured around 1.5 million individual wildebeest. They are the second most densely populated animal on the continent of Africa, second only to humans. There's also going to be some sable antelope out there on the left, so named because of that dark brown color. The horns on their heads can get up to about 4 feet in length. And they differ from other types of antelope as they will stand their ground and fight when met with danger rather than run. A much better look at these wildebeest here. Another name for them is gnu. G-N-U comes from the noise that they make. And when they go to sleep at night, they'll make an effort to kind of all lay down. Now, there's a couple different ways to do it. Either they'll all lay down facing the same direction, or sometimes they'll lay down facing away from each other, so that if for any reason they need to get up and run during the night, nobody crashes into each other. Those are Ankole cattle. The big horns there. Ankoles, they're one of only 2 domestic animals you may find out here on the reserve. They're not really raised for any agricultural purposes, though. They're sacred in some parts of Africa. They were raised as status symbols, symbols of wealth. Those horns can grow to be as wide as 6 feet tip to tip, and they look heavy, but they're actually semi-hollow on the inside with a honeycomb-like structure in there. Allows for the flow of blood. Blood flows into those horns, cools off, and then circulates back to the rest of their bodies. Another name for them is Tsosie cattle, named for the tribe that originally domesticated them. Passed by some structures back there. There's some more of them out there on the right. Those are termite mounds. Termite mounds, they're made primarily out of dirt, termite saliva, and animal refuse. They bake to rock hard in the sun. They can get as hard as concrete. Some animals like to use them as scratching posts. They're not solid all the way through, though. They are porous on the inside. Sometimes much larger animals, they come, they rub up against them, they accidentally knock them over. Smaller animals, though, like the wildebeest and these smaller s'mores-colored antelope we'll see up here, these springbok, they'll climb on top of the termite mounds, use them as observation points, survey the surrounding area for predators. And all those springbok all kind of be laying down around the tall grasses. They get that name from an ability they have to leap 9 feet up in the air, 13 feet forward. It's called pronking, something they'll do to avoid being caught by predators. Going to be some Maasai giraffe up this way, including a baby Maasai giraffe, a giraffe calf here on the right. A giraffe calf, when it is first born, can already be about 6 feet tall. Giraffe pregnancy, that lasts about 15 months, and he's hanging out with that eland there. One of the largest antelopes in the world, the eland, a full-grown male, can weigh as much as 2,000 to 2,200 pounds. They also have a dewlap like the zebra, but a lot more pronounced. Get a great look at the rest of the tower here, and that is the proper term for a group of giraffes, a tower. When fully grown, the Maasai giraffe is the tallest animal in the world. It can grow about 18 to 20 feet tall. They are incredibly vigilant, always on the lookout for predators. They don't sleep for very long. They'll only sleep for about 30 minutes a day. Won't even take that 30 minutes all at once. They'll do it in several-minute intervals, more often than not standing up. Just about everything a giraffe does will be done standing up. Something that fascinates me about them is their hearts. A giraffe's heart, it has to be powerful. They have to be able to pump blood a long way through their body, so a giraffe's heart can weigh as much as 25 pounds, and also measure close to 2.5 feet across. They have the highest blood pressure of any animal. You get a lot more knockdown trees over this way. It means we're getting into elephant country, and I do see one out there on the right. An African elephant. Largest terrestrial animal in the world, the African elephant. Females can weigh about 8,000 to 9,000 pounds. Males, they can get as large as 13,000. You get a good look at that one out there. Kind of just hanging out. Shortcut does seem to be out this direction. That's a little unlucky, so that does mean we will be taking the long way around. Taking the long way around does come with one small unfortunate side effect. It means that we'll be taking a trip across this decrepit, rickety-looking bridge. Should be all right. Hopefully. Made it. Amazing what a little duct tape and zip ties will accomplish. Passing through some red clay pits now. Elephants, they love red clay. They do eat it. A lot of minerals in that red clay. That's good for them. So to an elephant, it's like taking a daily multivitamin. You even see some tusk marks in that red clay there. Let's see if we can find... Well, there's another elephant right there, actually. They live in a matriarchal society. What that means is their family groups will be led by the dominant female. Male elephants, once they get to a certain age, they'll leave the family group either on their own or they'll be kicked out. Sometimes, though, they will join up with other young males and form bachelor groups. That was likely a mature bull elephant we saw back before we crossed the bridge there, since he was all by himself. Seen a lot of more baobab trees out this way. Elephants, they're very smart. They know that baobab trees store a lot of water. Something really cool they can do is they can puncture the bark with their tusks, and they can drink the water out that those baobab trees store up. Takes a lot to sustain an African elephant. They'll drink about 30 to 40 gallons of water a day. They'll also eat between 300 and 500 pounds of food, all of which gets shoveled in with their trunks. They'll have more muscles in that trunk than we have in our entire bodies. Looks like we'll get a pretty good look at some down by the water here. Definitely a family group of elephants here. This island on the left looks to be inhabited by greater flamingos. A group of flamingos is called a flamboyance. They're not actually born that color, they hatch gray. They develop that pink color over time due to a mineral in the brine shrimp that they eat. See some of them looking forward right now. They'll shuffle their feet along the bottom, trying to stir up that brine shrimp. The word greater, when applied to an animal's name, means that it is the largest of its kind, so these are the largest flamingos in the world. Ironically, though, they are the lightest shade of pink. Look out there on the left, kind of right between those rocks there, there's a mother and her calf. Baby elephant, when it is first born, can already weigh about 200 pounds. Elephant pregnancy, that lasts about 22 months. Looks like we'll get to see my favorite animal on the reserve here on the left. These are white rhinos. The term white, it actually has nothing to do with their color. The first German and Dutch colonists called them wide rhinos because of their wide, broad-shaped mouths. That was later mistranslated to white in English. Like most rhinos, they are tragically poached for their horns, made of a substance called keratin. Same as what's in our hair and our fingernails. I believe for a long time those horns held medicinal properties. We now know that's not the case. Very social animals, white rhinos. A group of them is called a crash. They're also the largest rhinos in the world. A full-grown male can weigh as much as 6,000 pounds. They can't see very well. They rely much more on their sense of smell and sound to navigate. So to them, we're just a blur, but they likely heard us coming from a long ways away. What else we can find? Now this way, looks like there are going to be some cheetahs over here on the left. Fastest animal in the world on four legs, the cheetah. They can run up to about 60 miles per hour. Now they are built for speed. Their heads are aerodynamic. Their claws are semi-retractable. They act like cleats when they run. Helps them to achieve those speeds. Can't sustain that 60 for long periods of time, though, only in short bursts. They also don't roar like lions and tigers, cheetahs. They'll communicate with short little yips, squeaks, chirps, chatters, and meows, almost like regular house cats. And speaking of cats, laying down on the left there, up on those Kopi rocks, that is an African lioness. They love these copy rock formations, lions. They'll use them as places to lay out in the sun or as overlooks when hunting. See if we can get a better look at some around the other side here. She is doing what lions do for most of the day. They'll rest for about 16 to 20 hours. It's not out of laziness. They do it for energy conservation. They also just don't have a very high heat tolerance. That's the other reason they'll rest for as long as they do. Be a couple more rhinos out there on the right, actually. Yeah, if you ever see rhinos run, they trot and they gallop. It's actually because they're related to horses. And I think we will get a better look at some lions around this way because there's another lioness. She's going to be way up on top of the Kopi rocks up there, actually. And the male's actually laying down here also. You can tell he's male because of that mane. You can tell that he is young, though. As he ages, that mane will grow out more. It will darken in shade as well. Very impressed about lions when they roar, and if they put their full power behind it, the sound of that roar will travel as far as 5 miles. There can be some warthogs here on the left. Warthogs will have 2 sets of tusks, one on the top jaw, one on the bottom jaw that they use for burrowing and for self-defense. Very clever, despite their reputation. While they are capable of digging their own burrows, they actually won't often dig their own. What they'll more frequently do is they'll occupy burrows belonging to other animals. One last look here, these gorgeous white rhinos here. A little bit further back, against the tree line there, there's a brown antelope laying down there. That is a water buck. They get that name because of how much time they spend in and around the water. It's an abnormally large part of their diet. It's an ostrich back that way as well. Fastest animal in the world on 2 legs of the ostrich. They can run up to about 40 miles per hour. They use their short wings to turn and maintain their balance while running at those speeds. You can see why it's nearby. There's that clutch of eggs on the ground on the right. Ostriches, when they lay those eggs, they'll do so in a community nest. What that means is one large nest, multiple different eggs from multiple different mothers. Dominant females will be closest to the center for protection. Just one of those eggs can weigh up to 3 pounds, the equivalent of 24 chicken eggs. Funny thing about ostriches, they don't have teeth, so to break up the food in their stomachs, they'll eat grains of sand and small pebbles. We pass by the warden's post up ahead here. Warden Wilson did ask me if we could stop by, check on his latest project. They seem to be doing all right. These are Nigerian dwarf goats. A lot of animals we saw out on the reserve do face habitat fragmentation due to large-scale farming. So these goats, they're a great alternative. They don't take up nearly as much space. The milk that they produce, very popular, very sweet. Depending on what the farmer wants to sell, can sell the milk on its own. That milk can be made into cheese. Some farmers will actually make that milk into soap. And seeing that warden's post does remind me that we are starting to make our way back towards the village of Harambe. Those 2 weeks together seems to have just flown right by. It feels like we really got to know each other. Got to see some pretty cool animals out there. You guys are very lucky for me. A lot of different animals, all with their own unique habits and traits for helping them navigate life. So kind of like us in a way, I like to think. Some of the animals we did see out there, like the giraffes, the rhinos, the elephants, they are endangered. And it is my hope that we are able to keep these animals around, that future generations are afforded the same opportunities we are to see these animals and to learn from them. It was Walt Disney himself that said conservation is not a business that concerns just a few of us. It's a matter that concerns all of us, so when everyone is playing a part, even if it is small, it can add up over time. A good way to help out a lot of those animals is by recycling electronics batteries. A lot of mining takes place in their habitat for a metal called coltan. It's a type of metal that goes into a phone battery. A great easy way is also just by simply doing your own research into conservation funds and animals that you find interesting. Ordinarily, where I would say goodbye, we don't like to say that out here in Harambe. That sounds far too sad, frankly. It's far too final. So instead we say Kwaherini, which means to go well. So Kwaherini, y'all go well, go wild, go learn more about the unique animals we share this little blue model of ours with. Asante Sana, that means thank you. Thanks for riding with me. Just putting up with me for the last 2 weeks. Just sitting on that right side, watch those hands, arms, feet, and legs, doors be sliding open. Watch your step as you exit. If I had any wilderness explorers on board, you've been riding this single one.